end up on a C triad with a D in the bass, which is a you call it an 11 chord. It's one of the many names we might have for it.
Or C over D or something.
Peculiar nomenclature that they use in music, and that's a chord that leads to.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Krellbar, welcome. Hey, let me know how the audio is, because I'm not using headphones, so I have it quiet, but just let me know that you can hear me. Somebody show that my audio is coming through. It is 10 o'clock. We know what time that is. That is time. Okay, cool, Neil. Thanks. Great. Thanks, Krell. It is time for Chord Therapy. And I have some cool stuff to talk about today. Not a lot of stuff to talk about, but just stuff that I think in general, just things that in general I think are going to be good to know, good things to hear. As you can see, I got my hair cut yesterday. It's cut really short. Oh, well. Anyways, very good. So today I wanted to talk about some things that happen when I post songs on YouTube, when I teach songs. You know, sometimes I get people that sit and tell me, like, if I call something like a 7♯5, they're like, that's an augmented seventh. Or if I call, anything like, if I call something by a different name, then a lot of people will be like, oh, that's not the right name for the chord, when actually it is. And then every once in a while, somebody will tell me that I chose the wrong name for the chord, even though it's still the right name for the chord. And they're right. I did. And I'll explain all of this to you, why this happens and what I'm talking about. When we're kids, we have many names. Your friends call you names. Your parents have names for you. Your siblings have nicknames for you. But generally, when your parents call out your name, when I was a kid, if I heard my mother scream Davy, well, then I knew, number one, either food was ready, she wanted to know if I needed anything because she was going to run out to the store. But I could tell you, it was not going to be something that I was dreading. Now, if she screamed, David, Eric, well, then I knew I was fucked. Because the tone she was taking and the name change told me what was coming my way. Funny enough, music is the same way. When we have chords, we can call chords different things and let other players or other people, or even the person himself who's playing the song, understand what's coming next. Are you getting ice cream from the ice cream man, or are you getting a whooping? Either way, you would know, because you called the chord something different. Now you're going to say, well, how many names can you have for chords? I am talking about a specific chord set, and there's many of them, but I'm going to show you them. The first one is going to be the half diminished. This chord is also called the minor 7 flat 5. Sometimes you'll hear me refer to it as a minor 7 flat 5. Sometimes you'll hear me refer to it as a half diminished. So people, if you're wondering why that is, It's because when you refer to the song, when you refer to the chord as a half diminished, you're letting the player, the musician, or whoever the people that are playing the chord know that there's a resolution coming, and usually because it's diminished, even though it's half diminished, it's coming a half step ahead of it. So a B half diminished will resolve to C. Let me show you. We have this chord. If I call this a B diminished, B half diminished, we're resolving to this. Absolutely, Jay. There are no perfectly set, but these are guidelines for players. So if you're just like call somebody a name, somebody calls you JS, one of your buddies, they're talking about you, even though that's not your name. So here we go. B half diminished resolves to a C. If I refer to it as a minor 7 flat 5, well, now I'm actually thinking of it as the 2 chord in the progression. So it would be followed by an E7 and then the 1. So as a minor 7 flat 5, we have okay, so now if we looked at it, we could also see it as the half diminished. Now, the cool thing about half diminished and diminished sevenths is that they also can be treated as dominant chords. So I think I've showed this before. If you have a song and the song goes to a B7, it can then transfer now to a C. Billy Joel uses it a lot, like in Honesty. At the end of Honest, what's how it goes? I don't remember how the song even goes, but when it goes to Hey Squire. Okay, so we can treat, just so you know, that they're very similar in the way they act, the dominant chords and diminished chords. And I'm going to get back to that when we get to the full diminished 7. Another chord people have trouble, another thing people have trouble wrapping their head around is the 11 chord, or the 4/5. So here we have the notes A, G, B, D, which is really a G triad over A, which we can see in the second chord. However, most musicians refer to this chord as an A11, unless you're a jazz musician, and then they seem to refer to it as the A9 sus4. More times than not, they will just call it an A9 sus, but it means the same thing. I like to call it an 11 chord in that context. Now, why would I call it an 11 chord as opposed to the G over A? Well, the G over A implies that it's going somewhere, usually to the 5. So if you hear a song that's like, then I would call this a G over A. It's the 4 to the 5, the A. But if I was treating that as an A11, then the resolution would be the D major. We would have. So does that make sense to everybody? If the chord is being treated like it's the 5 chord, then we just look at it as an 11 or a 9 sus4, whatever you want to call it. Personally, I prefer the 11. If you're a jazz guy, you like calling it a 9 sus4 because the 11, because there's no 3 in the chord, and therefore they feel like they have to tell you that it's a 4 and get hypersensitive on you. However, I don't live in that hypersensitive world. I call it an 11. Again, if you were treating it like it's a 4 to a 5, it would be, and we would call it a G over A to an A chord, as opposed to A11 over D, to D. so you hear that in like songs like Uncle Albert, right? You have this D11. You would, although I wouldn't call it a D11, I'd call it a C over D because it's "We're so sorry." Also have that same feel in like "She's Gone." Everybody's high on consolation. Everybody's trying to tell me what is right for me. Right, so you have these 4 to 5 songs. You have it in "Well, your friends and your fancy persuasion won't admit that they're part of this." So we have that 4 to 5 sound. If you ever hear a song by Albatross by Fleetwood Mac, uses the B11 because it resolves to the E major 7. And also I taught a song that's going up next week by Paul Weller called "Above the Clouds." And "Above the Clouds" also uses that B11 in the song where he's like, "Above the clouds to be found, have to wonder, will I be around?" All right. So that's the difference why those chords are named those chords. Sometimes if I'm doing a lesson, and I think I did it in Uncle Albert, I'll refer to this as a D11 to a D. Why? Because when I'm doing the lesson, I'm just learning the song like moments before I teach it. And I'm looking at each chord in an isolated fashion. And I think a lot of people understand when I say D11, they just thinking of the chord. I'm not really, and it's not right to do, it's not wrong to do, but it's just not how I would prefer to do it. But sometimes I goof and I just call it by whatever name it is. So, it's like when one of your friends calls you by like, it would be like somebody saying to me, "Oh, okay, David." And I'd be like, "David? Like you're calling me David?" That type of thing. Like it just throws you off for a second. Then you're like, all right. So that is what goes on with the 11. "I'm Not in Love" starts that way with this. Right, because we get the 4 to the 5. I'm not in love, so don't forget it. It's just a silly phase I'm going through. So yes, all the same stuff. Next we have Augmented Sevenths. This one always gets me because people love to comment on my channel if I say a 7♯5. That's an augmented 7. Yeah and no. Yeah, it's like you're calling it by a name. I'm calling it by a name, except the name that I'm calling it by is telling the person where the chord's going. So when I call something a 7♯5, that's an altered. That's an altered 7 chord, an altered dominant chord. And you can play the altered scale over it. You can play a whole tone scale over the 7♯5 chord. So it tells you as a player what's going on. What is happening? What happened in hot stuff? So that is what it's doing. When we have a C augmented 7, for me, as I wrote down here, this has the feel of a 3 chord that's seeking a resolution to the 4 in a harmonic minor scale. So if you had like, where would it be? That type of thing, as opposed to. So what you call it gives people the tip off. Now you can call it either one. They're interchangeable. There is no, "Hey, my toy." There is no right or wrong. But when you're playing with certain players, it's nice to be able to call out the chord to let them know what's going on. When I used to play blues jams, people would a lot of times refer to chords by, all kinds of crazy things. And I'd have to figure out what the hell they were talking about. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what they're calling this. um, they don't. You'll see them use diminished chords in places of 7 flat 9s, and there's a reason for it why they do, because they don't know the other chord, and they do here, and the diminished chord is part of that chord. And let me just show you what I mean by that. If we looked at like here, this E diminished 7, right? So we have an E diminished 7, and we all know that diminished, like if this was this would be the resolve would go to either an F or F minor, right? But because we're in F or F minor, we can put the 5 over it, which would be the C, and we get this chord. We could have the you get the C7 flat 9, which is really just the 5 of the scale as opposed to the diminished, with the diminished under it. So you have this E diminished. Now we're just putting a C in the bass. So I could play this as long as the bass is playing the C, and we get the same feel of the song. And then I could also, if that's playing a C, I could be moving this all around, because I'm inverting the same 4 notes, because diminished chord will repeat every minor third up. So if a bass is playing, and that happens a lot, like you hear it in a lot of funk music. I noticed it in a Chaka Khan song I was working on recently. But where she goes, actually, I thought it was a 7 flat 9, because I saw somebody write it out as a 7 flat 9. When I listened to the record, I was like, it's a 7 flat 9, but there's a sharp 5 in there too. So it's really, and I'll probably do a lesson on it. It's called "What You're Gonna Do for Me." But it's really cool. But so anyway, so that is part of the 7 flat 9. It can be treated like the diminished. It's doing the same thing. I could. It just depends where you put the bass. And in that song, it's really cool because it plays this chord where the band is holding that chord and the bass is holding the C. But then the bass does this to the E, which makes that diminished. So it actually includes, the minor 9. So it adds both, which is nice. Nice. So that is just touching the surface on how chords can share different, the same chord can have different names. And it's good to use because you're actually letting the other player know. So if you're like the rhythm guitar player in the band, which I hate using that word rhythm guitar, but if you're the other guitar player and the guy is playing lead, they like to know that that's a 7 sharp 5, because then there's chords and scales to play over that, as opposed to saying, oh, this is an augmented 7th. It's like, what? Augmented 7? Where's it going? You don't know. Augmented 7 might go, it can go up a half step, whereas the wants to go to that, it's the 5 to that 1. What is that? What song is that? Oh, in the corner, I saw you and Rudy's. You were high. It was a crying disgrace. They saw your face about 'em. With your, you should know how all the folks play the game. I won't cry while you forget. Thank you. I forget the rest of that song. Anyways, so what I was saying, is that making sense to anybody out there? Is everyone scratching their heads? Very quiet in the chat tonight. Actually, it's quiet in the room. I think I should be doing this at 9 o'clock. And again, this is going to be every other week because I don't like you guys that much. Gotta be honest. I'm just kidding. Christ. And yet there are crickets in the chat. Am I still on? Have they shut me off? Have they shut me down? Exactly, Krell. You know, and what I was talking about, like when we get to this this chord here, it actually happens in Black Cow, where we have this A major 7 to the A13. Right? As opposed to calling it a G major 7 over A, which every chord book I've ever seen on Steely Dan always refers to this as a G major 7 over A. I would call it an A13 because it resolves to the D13. Yes, Squire. Break away. When it seems okay, then it's over. Over. What is that chord? Over. And get out. So there's nothing wrong with that, Jay. You have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. So anyway, that's really like what I wanted just to talk about and share with, because I do get people that, like when I write chords out on my lessons, they will say, you know, they'll correct me on the hypercorrect name of it. A 13th is a 6th away from the root, not a 5th. There is nothing for a 5 would be a 12, Cheech. 13 is a 6. And we call it as 13 when the 7 is in the chord. So this is like your A7 13. A, you have the 1, 7, major 3rd, 13. And the 5th is always the 5th. You wouldn't call it the 12th, but you could say something's a 12th away, which would be the octave 5th, but you wouldn't. It's just the 5th. 13 is a 6. Does that help you, Cheech? So yeah. Anyways, so that's kind of like to give you some guideline, to let you know that when you communicate the chord name, you're also letting people know what's going on, where's the direction it's going. You know, like if I sit there and I say, hey, but like if we're just sitting around and playing chords and I'm just messing around with this chord and someone says, what is that? I could say it's an A over G. I could call it an A11, call it anything I want, because it doesn't matter. It's not in the context of a song. So it's whatever name I feel like calling it is all right. And that's what happens when I teach lessons is sometimes my head's not even in the song. I'm just like, all right, so here's an A11, here's an F, here's a G11, you know what I mean? So I'm just calling it off by the names and not thinking in context of the song. And then somebody will correct me and I'll be like, yeah, you're right. I should have called it that because that does show direction of where it's going in the song, which is really what you want, you know? And once you know that kind of stuff, then learning songs become easy. You know, when I play that Olivia Newton-John song, Magic, right? There's a part when it goes, you have to believe we are magic. Don't let it turn in your have to believe we are magic. Later, Jay. Right? And then we have the 1 to a minor 4. Where the hell's the chord go next? Oh, the flat 6. The to the 1, to the 5, then 1. We are your. Now here's the 2, but it's a 2 minor 7 flat 5, which tells it's going to go to a 5, which goes to the A7 flat 9, and then back to the. Take my hand and show me. The hell's the next part go? I've been anyways, I'll get copyright strikes on this one too. But anyway, so that's really all I wanted to talk about on this one. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of people watching tonight, which is fine because I've been debating whether I was going to keep doing chord therapy because it doesn't really seem to be that popular. And it was a good idea, but the people, I don't know, my numbers are really not good on it. And, you know, I taught all day today. Today I was teaching. I've been teaching since, what time was it? 3 o'clock today I've been teaching since. So it's just been a long day, Helen. Yeah, no, not yet. Not yet. I'll watch Columbo when I go to bed. Which one did I have on this morning? I woke up this morning and there was an episode on. Oh, you know what it was? It was the episode where the girl kills Richard Anderson. I haven't seen that one in a while because I usually never wake up for that, but it came around again. Nah, I'm not. It's too cold out. I don't go smoke in the garage. I'll go down to the. Hey, Johnny Kramer, what's happening? Yeah. Johnny Kramer, what's going on, man? Q, what's up? Thank you, David M. This is number 10. getting notified on videos. Oh, really? Did you hit the bell? Max, what's up, man? Wow. Well, that would be what, StreamYard's fault? What the fuck is going on here, folks? I don't know why. Let's try some of that embellishments up here. And I like cream in my coffee. And I like to sleep late on Sunday. And nobody knows like my baby. And I like eggs over easy in a flour tortilla. Nobody knows me like my baby. Nobody knows. Nobody shows. Like my baby. Yeah, Elite. I'm down to 209. $209 is where I'm at right now. I'll probably hit my goal sometime over the summer. I'm looking to get shredded. So right now I'm about 209, and I'll probably lose 10 pounds a month coming out. Getting my blood work done next Tuesday, so that should be good. Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, my weight's always been like 195, and for those that follow me on Facebook, you saw a buddy of mine sent me a picture of he found my old business card from 25 years ago when I used to work at Gold's Gym. So I thought that was pretty funny. How did I lose the weight? Well, for a while I was doing doubles in the gym. I was going in the morning and doing weights and then cardio, and then at night going back. But now I'm just doing, hey, Strat Dad, long time no see. I eat low carbs. I do eat carbs. I eat a lot of salads, that's for sure. And not like fattening salads, but just like, like a lot of romaine lettuce and a lot of protein, a lot of eggs. Eggs is the superfood. I love eggs. So I try to eat 2 to 4 eggs a day, but I'm mixing it in with egg beaters. I found the Southwestern egg beaters that's so effing good. You put 2 eggs with it, put in the Southwestern egg beaters, and it's like, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that, and so now I go to the gym 5 days a week, one body part a day, and I do an hour of cardio every day. Yeah, but the cholesterol in it you're going to need because the eggs yolks itself have so many nutrients and are so rich in with what you need that the cholesterol doesn't matter. Your body's cholesterol level really, unless you're choking down 400 cheeseburgers a day, your body's cholesterol is pretty much regulated by what your body's doing to that cholesterol. So I know some people that eat like crap all day and their cholesterol's great. And I know guys that have been like into fitness, never eat any bad food, and their cholesterol's sky high. Tried egg and cactus? No, I don't know what that is. Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of cool doctors that I watch on YouTube. I like Dr. Berg. Yeah, genetics, that's it. So the only thing that I struggle with is and I think it was back when I was bodybuilding, I took some Cytomel, and I may have screwed up my thyroid a little bit. So I was taking levothyroxine, and the levothyroxine was I put on weight. It put me on, like I went from like 240 to 265 without even changing any and eating less and less. So I knew it was that. So I stopped all the medicines, and I went to the gym and started dieting. And right away, I was down to like, within the first week, I was down to 260. So I lost 5 pounds right away. And then I was like, all right, I'm officially starting my diet from 250. So, sorry, from 260. So at 260, and now I'm at 209, I'm down 51 pounds from that, but 56 altogether. And my goal is to get down to 190. 190, I don't really eat any, so I have one cheat day on Sundays, and that's just to let my body know that, hey, I'm not out of my mind. I'm still going to eat this shit. But I really stay away from sugar. I don't really, I'll eat equal. I like, sometimes I have a treat and I'll have like an orange and I'll put a little bit of equal on it. But for the most part, I stay away from sugar. I'm staying away from most stuff. Like I buy like chicken breast at the deli, and roast beef, and I eat that nonstop, and eggs. That's it. Chicken breast, roast beef, and eggs. And I don't really crave much more. Like I don't care. Like I look at it like it's fuel, and I'm just trying to get your body needs cholesterol. Exactly. Well, I'm getting my testosterone tested on Tuesday, Elite. So it should be interesting. Because so anyways, like I was saying, so after I got off the levothyroxine, I got my blood work done in February. And in February, I was 3 months at 215. I couldn't lose any more than that. And the guy was like, well, your numbers for your thyroid hormone are terrible. You have to go back on levothyroxine, which I refused to do. And grilled chicken with salad is the best, Mr. Mister. Absolutely. And so I watched a bunch of videos. No, I won't eat anything canned. I don't like the taste of the can because I can taste the can. The only thing I eat canned is corned beef hash. That's a weakness. So, and Johnny Kramer knows about that because I'm all about corned beef. Throw it in a pan with eggs. I'll have to brined cactus. Let me talk. I'll get to the bread in a moment, but grilled chicken. What was I saying? So anyway, so they put me on Armour Thyroid. And once I got on Armour Thyroid, 2 weeks later, all of a sudden I could feel like everything was just starting. I know it's the right medication for me. So then I'm going to get tested again next Tuesday so I can see how the medication's doing. But now I'm starting to drop the weight. So it's effing great, in my opinion. As far as bread goes, I would stay away from the misconception that wheat bread is good for you. I've been watching a lot of doctors, especially Dr. Gundry, who talks about how whole wheat sucks and you're better off eating sourdough bread. And he has these videos about lectins, about all these cultures, like in Italy, where they eat like what you think is all rich foods, and all the people are lean and live a very long time. And he talks about how it's the lectins in the food. It's really interesting. But wheat bread, I don't have a gluten allergy. I don't really have an allergy to gluten. It's the one allergy I don't have. Nuts. I have bananas I can't eat. Melon I can't eat because I have allergies. But gluten I have no problem with. The Hannibal lectins. There's your crickets, Grelba. So, yeah, Max Josephine, get off the Coke. Go to like Diet Coke. It's not even worth the calories. I won't do any soda anymore, really. For me, if I'm out, it's like a treat if I have soda. But at home, I'm always just drinking. I drink that Extend water, which is like a branched chain amino acid water. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to drink your calories. I agree. Um, but I'm also doing an hour of cardio. Like, I don't just want to be like, I don't just want to look fit. I want to have my, I lost a lot of friends in the last couple of years. And over the last 10 years, I've lost a lot of friends who were young. And a lot of stuff was heart issue. I had a friend of mine that went skating on the ice at 51 years old. He just dropped dead. So for me, it's like, I want to, I'd like to be around for a little while. So, I'm trying to do cardio. I want my cardio good. I want to be able to, I can go on the treadmill for an hour and burn 500 calories, over 500 calories. And I feel great. I'm not getting off the thing beat up. I could probably do, if I had to, I could easily do 3 or 4 hours of cardio without even thinking about it. 2 hours easily. I've done 2 hours a few times when I wasn't even in this good a shape, but now I could easily do 2 hours. But I just do an hour just to get the metabolism going, get the blood flowing, and I don't. That's not true. That's not true, Mister. Everything in moderation. I just don't think. I walk. I keep my heart rate at about 130 beats a minute, Cheech. It's more about keeping my heart rate at a level. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, aspartame is one of those things where you have to understand 90% of the negative stuff that they talk about aspartame were brought by the sugar lobby. The sugar lobby was responsible for aspartame being in the FDA. Yeah, the FDA had the drug tested for 15 years because the sugar lobby was panicking. So, there's only so much you can believe in. Who knows about the FDA, because there's no way in hell they were ever sticking that shot in me. So I never got the shot. So, but like I said, and it's funny because I'm in the gym and I see like trainers and I see people. There's one guy, he's wearing a mask while he's on the treadmill. He looks like he's having a cardiac event every time I go there. And then afterwards, he's wiping it down and spraying it. And I'm looking at this guy and I'm just like, you are fucking pathetic. I'd rather get sick than look like this imbecile. I'd rather have a respirator and be on death's bed from COVID. No, I'm kidding. But honestly, I'm like, listen, if I get it, I get it. If I don't get it, I may have gotten it at one point. I have no idea. I don't care. I'm not living my life in fear. I'm just going to try to do the best that I can. But these people are in the gym walking around with masks. I mean, it looks like a fucking mental fucking convention. But all right, what the hell do you want me to do? Your computer's full? Yeah, there's a great so Mr. There's a guy who talks about honey, how it's not a good thing for you, or it's not the greatest thing in the world for you. A couple of doctors. I just put one sweet and low in a coffee. I drink my coffee black. I have 1 cup every morning. No, of course, to wipe down the equipment. First of all, this guy wouldn't. First of all, the workout this guy is doing, Krellbot, doesn't even bring up a sweat. It's the fact that he can't breathe because he's covered in this fucking mask and he looks like a mental patient. Yeah, exactly. Stevia to me tastes like cornflakes. It doesn't taste good, so I don't use it. I just, I put 1 pink, 1 blue. That's my trick for my coffee. Anything else, I love using equal on fruit, but for the most part, I'm trying to do less and less fruit. I won't put it on apples, and I eat an apple every night. There was for a while, I think if someone's struggling with weight, is to eat an apple with every meal. Not only will it fill you up, but it really is a negative calorie food. It takes more to burn it than it is to eat it. So, yeah, I agree, Krell, with that. Both those statements. Both those statements. Yeah. Yeah, the wearing of the mask is a little redundant. But anyways, like I'm saying, so my goal, like I said, is to me to be shredded. So my goal is by, what are we at now? April 6th? So May 6th, I'll probably be done. June 6th, July. Before July, I should hit my goal. Sugar, salt, and fat are the killers. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things you can try to stay away from. Cheese. Cheese isn't the greatest thing, but if you're eating very little cheese, like I have Caesar salads, one, I need the fat. So I like the dressing is the fat. When I used to work at IntraFit back at Gold's Gym, one of the meals I used to give people was you could have a turkey sandwich with lettuce and tomato, and you could dip it into a little bit of Caesar dressing for the fat. So fat is you want a little bit of fat with your meals. So I'll do a Caesar salad, and I don't put a lot of cheese on there. Now I may throw enough croutons to choke a horse, but I had a good Caesar the other day. In fact, this chicken was fantastic. They did give me too many croutons, and for me, that's hard. Death is the number one killer. That's a good one, Squire. Yeah, I mean, of course, genetics is everything. The only thing is I'm just trying to do preventative stuff. I'm just trying to get myself in shape, and you also feel better about yourself. Like I feel good about myself now. Before I was like watching Cannon, and I was eating like Cannon. It's not terrible. It's not terrible, but I'm not drinking the bottle. I think like I don't know if you know that Caesar dressing that Ken's. I just give a squirt, one squirt, and it's like, and that's it, and that's my whole salad. I like light dressing anyway, but I do need the fat because I'm really eating like lean chicken breast. Yeah. I mean, if anybody wants me to help them with their diet and stuff like that too, one of the things I used to do when I worked at Gold's was we would, talk about people's, how many calories you should be eating, and then figuring out how to allocate what calories to what thing, whether it's yeah, Max. Max, have you seen, hey, Tim Thomas? Hey now. Have you seen Max? What's the guy from the UK? Dorian Yates. Dorian's got Dorian's been doing a lot of interviews lately, and he had some interesting things to say. One of the things Dorian said was he can't even bench 135 pounds, which I'm thankful. I put up 125-pound dumbbells 2 weeks ago, so that's my new high for this time around. I want to get up to 150, which is where I was before, but 125. He can't put up 135 with two hands. And he was talking about how he's now only into the cardiovascular and trying to get shape. But yeah. Well, Hugh, you can always reach out to me and we can talk, because it's easy to do. It's about anything else. Anything, it's the same thing about learning this stuff with guitar. It's the same thing. It's all about discipline. It's what is your goal, and then when you pick your goal and you figure out your goal, then just keep your eye on the prize. If your goal is like my goal was, I said, I'm just going to lose this weight and so I can be healthy, and I just kept my eye on the prize, and I'm still working on it. I'm still getting there, but he does resistance training, but there's things he says he doesn't do. He says his upper body is just garbage. And then he said back when he was huge, he stopped squatting when he got really big. He didn't want to squat. Don't buy food in cardboard boxes. There goes my Town Spa pizza. But yeah, so yeah, you got to see the Dorian video. It's interesting. And Ronnie Coleman's getting big again, although he can't walk. I mean, it's a shame. Ronnie was so awesome. Hopefully they'll fix that with surgery, but yeah, you just Hugh, it starts with walking. Well, anything you can do to start is important. You know, so last year my brother was here and we went for a walk around the block. And halfway around the block, I'm like, I don't know if I can make it. My feet are numb, my legs are killing me, I'm exhausted. Now I could walk around the block about 400 times. I wouldn't even think about it. So yeah, Max, Ronnie was awesome. I like to swim, but we have a pool at my gym, but I don't swim in it. I don't swim in it. Yeah. I don't know how this got to chord therapy, got to diet talk, but yeah, no, I like swimming. I grew up with a pool. Um, yeah. But anyway, Hugh, you start off walking and then eventually you'll want to do more. I always tell people, like, if you're going outside walking, that's cool, but that's not a workout. And you got to get on the treadmill. There's something about getting on the treadmill, having that number of the pace and you doing it, as opposed to exactly, Hugh, as opposed to nonchalantly walking down the street going, oh, there's a bird. Oh, I'm getting a workout. You're not. You're not getting a workout. You gotta, thing and move. You gotta move. And what I do, so tomorrow's my arm day, so I'll go in and bang out some arms. And so what I do is I get in the gym. I do tomorrow. I'm going to do. I do 2 different exercises for biceps, 2 different exercises for triceps, but I oppose them. So it's bicep, tricep exercise, bicep, tricep. Then I'm done. Then I get on the treadmill and I got an hour. And Max, where are you out of? And that's that. And that's just every day. And you just keep doing it. Yeah, you got to do it, Hugh. The other thing is, I'll tell you this. I know your age, Hugh, and you want to get healthy. And the thing is, if you don't start today, 3 months from now, you're going to be like, ooh, if I started today, I'd already be halfway at my goal. And that stuff starts getting with your head. And then you're like, well, and then you never start. The way to do it is just to commit yourself to doing it and saying, you know what, today's the day. I'm going to change my life and I'm going to get it done. So you do. Yeah. But I do think there is some advantage. I mean, there are some benefits of playing songs, Mr. But you're right. If you're just going to sit and play songs, when somebody goes to hear you play that song, you're going to be like, where's the downbeat of one again? Because I think you cut on, they don't really know, and you got to put the work in. You got to put the work in, and whether it's guitar or, I think most of the people in this chat are probably around my age. I'm 54. I turned 54 on Monday. And, yeah, so last year I thought to myself, I don't want to be 54 and knocking on death's door. I mean, I remember walking up the stairs going, God, my feet were killing me. I felt like heavy and winded, and I'm like, this has got to stop. And then that's immediately I was like, I'm not going to take my medications tomorrow because I feel like that was putting on weight. And shortly, let me just say this, guys. I don't know who's on what medication. I was on Metropolol or Metaropol or however you pronounce that fucking medication that every pharmacist pronounced differently. I was on that. They wanted me on a statin, but I refused to take it. I was on levothyroxine, and that was it. And then they were like, and so I stopped taking everything. And the first 3 appointments I had to get my blood work done, everything was perfect. Everything. And then in February, my thyroid numbers went up again. And they were like, you really got to get back on the thyroid. And I didn't want to take it. So now I'm on Armour Thyroid. But, 'cause I feel like that was putting on weight. And then that's immediately I was like, I'm not going to take my medications tomorrow because I feel like that was putting on weight. And then that's immediately I was like, I'm not going to take my medications tomorrow because I feel like that was putting on weight. And then that's immediately I was like, I'm not going to take my medications tomorrow because I feel like that was putting on weight. And then that's immediately I was like, I'm not going to take my medications tomorrow because I feel like that was putting on weight. And then that's immediately I was like, I'm not going to take my medications tomorrow because I feel like that was putting on weight. And then that's immediately I was like, I'm not going to take my medications tomorrow because I feel like that was putting on weight. And then that's immediately I was like, I'm not going to take my medications tomorrow because I feel like that was putting on weight. And then that's immediately I was like, I'm not going to take my medications tomorrow because I feel like that was putting on weight. And then that's immediately I was like, I'm not going to take my But all my numbers, I don't have to take high blood pressure shit anymore. Everything's good. Yeah, totally. Mr. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of why I do these things. Cause plus people want to know like I think it was Joe Electro Omega that was, asking me about certain chords when I sat here playing and you hear chords like, like what is this chord? And it's a C7 sharp, C9 sharp 11. So, people aren't going to know that this chord is the 4 chord in the melodic minor scale. But once you know that, you can use that chord. It's a really nice chord. My dad took statin for a decade. Well, yeah. So what happened was when they put me on a statin, I took it for like 3 days. I walked up the stairs and every joint in my leg was killing me. And I'm like, I'm not this. I go, this can't be healthy. And I stopped immediately. Well, Cheech, the reason why I like a treadmill instead of a bike is sitting on that bike. That thing's crawling up my ass. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to sit. I want to walk. So I have the TV on. Yeah, exactly, Mister. But that's a preference. It's just that's my preference. Some people like rowing. I know one guy. He's like, oh, I just love to row. So row. Whatever it's going to take for you to get your heart rate. The important thing is getting your heart rate up to about my age, about 130. You want 130, and you'll be good. You'll feel good. Yeah, Mister. I mean, there's a lot of you hear like what is that song? There's a great Vince Guaraldi video where he is like just friggin' heroined out of his mind. And he's like half his head down. He can barely move. And he's playing the most beautiful piano I've ever heard. So fucking good. Yeah. See, I was on metoprolol. That's what it is. Metoprolol. I can't fucking pronounce that. But I stopped taking it. I stopped it back in August of last year or July of last year. I stopped it. And I don't need it. They said I'm cleared from it. They don't need me to take it. Yeah. So, but I stopped taking that. Levothyroxine is probably the drug that I think I have the most problem with because I think they give it to everybody that says they have a thyroid problem, and it really made matters worse. It wasn't good. I recommend if anyone's on levothyroxine and they're not enjoying it, go look up Armored Thyroid or any type of desiccated thyroid medicine. And yeah. No, great question, Cheech. When I started the treadmill, I started at 30 minutes and slow. Then it was 30 minutes quicker, 30 minutes, and then a much higher angle. Then I went to 40 minutes. Then I went to 50 minutes. Now I go an hour. So I go an hour at about 3.4 miles an hour and about an 8 incline. No, very good, Squire. Yeah, the thing about the medications is like if you're on a medication, some medications are necessary and some medications are Band-Aid. Nah, my knees are fine. My knees are good. Yeah, it's one thing I can say. That's one joint that I don't really have any issues with pain or anything like that on anything. Occasionally I'll get like this right shoulder cricking around, but otherwise, not really. But like metoprolol isn't a cure for anything. It just brings your blood pressure down. The problem I have with it is what's causing the blood pressure to go up, because it's not helping. It's a band-aid. All these things are statins. Statins will bring your blood cholesterol down, but it doesn't lower your risk of getting a stroke. It doesn't lower your risk of getting heart disease. It doesn't do anything. All it does is lower that number of cholesterol in your test. There are many doctors who talk about this. You can look it up on YouTube. It's ridiculous. Right. Well, why do you want to reduce adrenaline? Instead, figure out why you're causing the blood pressure, lose the weight. That's my point. It's a Band-Aid that doesn't address what's causing your blood pressure. Now, if somebody says, "Oh, your body secretes too much adrenaline," well, then metoprolol or metoprolol, whatever the fuck that drug is called, then that drug should be administered. But unless your body is overly producing adrenaline, no, I know. Oh, I'm not arguing with you. I'm arguing with what you're saying. Like what the PDA would say it does. So my point is that's right. It doesn't do what you want it to do. What it's doing is it's lowering your blood pressure. How is it doing it? It's doing it by reducing your adrenaline. Do you have too much adrenaline? No, but I'm trying to lower my adrenaline because everything else, I'm eating fucking 400 cheeseburgers a day and my fucking veins are fucking clogged. Well, that's not helping you. That's just saying to you, oh, it's coming. It's coming. Just you wait. Who the fuck wants to live like that? Well, yes, Tom. There's another case. Those are those are medicines that you need. When you have a valve replacement, and congratulations, Tom, and glad to see you're around. And I never drink. I'm not a drinker. If I was not driving somewhere and smoking a cigar and somebody else was driving and they offered me a bourbon, I would have a bourbon. But if I'm driving, I could give two shits about alcohol. It's nothing. Not on my list of things to do. I'm just not into it. I literally haven't had a drink in probably 7 years. I had a bourbon when I was smoking a cigar with a guy, and that was it. Doesn't do anything for me. I'm not a social drinker. I never drink. So the valve replacement, you're going to be on metoprolol. You'll be on, what's the blood thinner they're going to put you on? My dad was on all those medicines. Coumadin. They'll have you on Coumadin, Tom. See, those are things that are actually trying to help your heart because now you have a weaker heart and it takes time for that to, I think eventually you can kind of wean off a few of them. Yeah, exactly, Quill. Coumadin. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'm not saying you shouldn't drink, Max. I'm just saying I don't. I don't care what anybody does. Yeah, I hear you, David. Coumadin, yes, yeah. Yeah, so the thing with medications is though most of the times, like the statins are terrible for you. Don't take statins. There's a pheno, whatever they wanted to give me. I said, fuck off. Eventually, so what I did was I went and worked out, started getting in shape, called up, said, let me 3 months, give me 3 months and I'll make it so my numbers don't need anything. And in 3 months, I didn't need my medicine anymore. The guy was like, well, I want to check you next month. I said, okay, I'm going to check you next month. Okay. And every month I've been great. So I actually called them because in February they did my blood, but they didn't give me a testosterone reading. And I'm like, I want the testosterone reading. I'm like, you don't have to prescribe it for me. I'll find testosterone and take it if I want it. Hey, you got it, Squire. But I want to know what those numbers are because if my numbers are high and I have good testosterone levels at age 54, well, then I don't want to mess with it. I'm not going to do testosterone therapy on myself if I don't need it. But if I need it, I want to know. So that kind of thing, I'm going to find out on Tuesday when I get my blood test. Well, I probably won't get it till Wednesday back, the results. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, meat and eggs are good. I mean, there's a lot of good things about red meat and about eggs, especially like for your liver health. Yeah, Floyd. Yeah, do it. Do it. I did it. I lost 20 pounds and I stopped doing it and then I kept going. Absolutely, Tom. And let me just tell you, Tom, it's great to have you, man. You're a good dude. I don't want to see you. Well, I like seeing you on the mend. 40 minutes of walking is great. You'll get that thing. You're going to rock it, man. Yeah, I don't know. For me, I'm going on the 12th. What's today? 6th. So 6 days from now, I go next Tuesday. And I'm going to go before the gym. The other thing that pissed me off was when I looked at my last lab tests, the guy says, it said that they weren't, no fasting. And I fasted. I'm like, I fast every time I get a blood fucking test. What do you mean no fasting? It's going to, don't sway my numbers. 3 flacons? Oh, no, they don't take that much from me. They take, yeah, exactly, Max. Me too. That and Trenbolone, but whatever. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. We'll see. I've had several people, including one of my best friends from high school, say to me, "Oh man, you're on the gas," which I'm not, and which is, yeah, Tom. It's because I always had it, so it's like I just had a layer of fat over it. But I've always been like, um, a good size. I mean, like if I got down to 190, I'm going to be thin. And that's all I'm trying to do is just to get abs, just to get down and lean. And as I like to say, I want to look like Tarzan, not the ape. I did years as the ape. I'd like to go to Tarzan now. You know? Yeah, Krellbot, your method of putting on weight might not be good for his heart. Tom, how long ago was your surgery? Hey, thanks, Mr. Mister. I appreciate that. Yeah, you know, do what makes you happy. If you're not happy, change it. If you're happy, do what you're doing. Whatever it is you're doing. If you're doing it and you're happy, stay doing it. If you're not happy, change. Too short a life, you know what I mean? When you look at people, and I look at how many people that I've known that are gone, it's like, fuck. Wow, Tom. Did not know that. Emily, no. No, years ago I took one of her classes and it completely kicked my ass. I'm with you, Mr. Mister. I get it. Yeah. I don't know if I'd call them bad people. Some people, wherever you are in your course of your life, some people don't get it and some people get it, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I hope that, that people look and say, "Oh, wow, this guy got in shape. I could do stuff and try to," because I know a lot of the guys in my chats, sit there and especially a lot of people on YouTube that watch YouTube. Some people are like stuck in and just, watch YouTube because they're either on disability or something like that. So to me, it's like, I have a friend, Pam, who comes in the chats. Pam had problems walking and told me that she couldn't do cardio. And I basically said, fuck you, go do it. And she was like, no, my doctor says I can't. I said, yeah, what did your doctor say? Dr. Levine says, get on that treadmill. So she did. They couldn't believe she was walking. They were like, oh, you had all these problems and a lot of it goes away. And she starts losing weight. And that's what happens. I had sepsis and infection of my valve and kidney. Wow. Sepsis is rough. I'm glad you're all right, Tom. Good to have you here, man. You know what they say. Another day above ground is always every day above ground is good. But anyways, like I said, Cheech, in your opinion, Dave, is cardio more beneficial than building muscle? You got to do both. You got to do both because cardio will help you burn the fat that you're burning that minute, but putting on lean mass will help you burn fat in every part of your day. Yeah. Well, Krelbar, it's an interesting thing you say. I would say that once the government started getting involved with medicine, and the more that insurance covers more stuff for you, and the more insurance became like this grandiose, we're taking everybody in, basically since Obamacare, your doctors are terrible because they're told, you go to a doctor and they're like, you have high blood pressure. I got to put you on this medicine. Years ago, they would say, let me talk about what you're doing in your life and let's try to fix this. Cannon would win. Columbo's not a fighter. But yeah, you just got to do it. You got to, you get out there and you do whatever you can do, but I'm telling you right now, it's a discipline. Diet, I would say, is 75-80% of it, but that'll get you thin. But if you want to get fit, how much you think theory and how much muscle memory? Oh, now, Mr. That's a great question. I don't think any of it's muscle memory. And I'll explain to you why. That's a great question, everybody. Let me explain this because that's an interesting question as far as, sometimes I'll goof around. Like if you ever see me play, like when I play gigs or anything like that, you could tell in my face if I'm just doing stuff, muscle memory stuff, because I'm goofing and I'm not really like, if I stop playing fast, like, I can all of a sudden just start going. And I'm just goofing around doing, like 1, 2, 4s. But for the most part, I'm listening all the time. So if I hear that, I already know. I know what that's going to sound like. I'm playing. I know what that's going to sound like, the notes that I'm playing. So, or if I do like, I know what those notes are going to sound like. So it's not like I'm doing it from a muscle memory here. See, I can be like, I can change the note and change the melody because I'm always listening. And I think that people should always listen. Like if you hear like this, here's a great thing I would tell people. Like, so one of the things, Mr. is I hate. Oh, hey, thanks, Tom. No, I know the chord shapes, but I'm following the melody. So years ago, I was working on a song, and it was an E major 7, and I came up with this melody of right. So it's so I always have that in my head. So if I'm hearing like a song. I always can hear that, but I know that, and I know what it's going to sound like. So if I wanted to alter from it, I can always alter it because I know the notes, and I know I can hear the notes as I sing them, So it's like, yeah. And a lot of times, which is part of the chord therapy, a lot of the times I'll see the chords. And so in a lesson today I had with a guy, I was explaining to him, we were talking about, what song was it? Melissa by the Allman Brothers, right? And I was explaining to him that this is not a G minor 7, but it is an E major 7. Exactly. Yes. If I'm noodling about. But so if I'm playing Melissa, right? So I was like, I could sit there and go, ba-da-ba, and I started singing. you know, that type of thing of playing fifths, or I can, wherever I go, I'm playing it, even though this is a common muscle memory thing. I mean, I'm listening for it because I'm hearing if there's like, if I'm playing live and I'm playing with somebody and they're going to go to an A, then I would go to that C sharp, knowing that they're on A because I know the chord and can hear it. But also I can see, you know, when I play this lick, I see this. I can see the chord. So I'm looking at, if I see this chord, the E major 7. So if someone's playing an E major 7, I could go, because I see the chord, and I see it here, and I see it here. So I see the board as a chord. I can see the B, A, you know, that whole type of thing, E, B, A. Oh, really? I always break out into the corner of your line. Other time when you have time to explain it a bit, how you overlap, interlock 2 or 3 separate chords into modes and scales. So Mr. Holdsworth does 1 chord. I do a lot of 1 chord stuff. Like I can think of a C major, I could call it a C major 13 and tell you that's the C major scale. I could also call it a D minor 13, or I could also think of the whole scale as an A minor 11 flat 13. But if we took it the A minor 7 flat 13, we could see the chords in it are A minor 7, A minor and G7. And there's your whole scale. These 2 chords, A minor and G7, make up a whole A minor scale, or the key of C. So if someone's playing I can combine both those. I can do F and G, F, a major 7 and G. So you can play and look at chords, look at them as chords, but I usually just think of it as 1 chord, especially if you're getting into jazz stuff and you got to think of like altered stuff. So like the altered chord, I always think of it as my favorite chord in the melodic minor scale. My favorite chord is a 9 sharp 11. Hey, Kevin McFarland, thanks so much. So I love this chord. I love that chord. So how do I think of this scale? I think of it as a G major scale with a flat 3rd. How you know what to use right away? God, Mr. Mister's got great questions tonight. That is, and I'm going to tell you right now, this goes right up to like Holdsworth and all the guys who play on that level. You usually just think of one thing, one idea that you see that chord. So let's say this. Let's say you know the D minor 13 chord, right? We have D, F, A, C, E, G, B, right? So we basically have like a D minor, a C chord, or a D minor and a C major 7, right? So we have, and this. So anything that's in the key of C, you could just apply those. It does not matter if it's A minor. I could still sit there and play. I'm still using, visually, I can see all the chords. It's how you want to hear it. For me, I like to always go to the 6 minor. To me, 6 minor is easy, or 2 minor is easy. That's my go-to. So, and some people will say, oh, you think Dorian. No, I don't think Dorian. Just because I'm looking at it from the 2 minor, I'm thinking chords. I don't, like, let's say, okay, so here's a chord. This is a C add 9 sharp 11, right? We have a C. This is the 4 chord of G major. So if you listen to a song, what's that Satriani song? It's like, There's also what's that guy? David Gilmour, Mahalis, right? If you're playing that, that's the chord. So a lot of people will say, "Oh, this is Lydian, and now I'm going to sit there and go, this is going to be C major with an F sharp." Flying in a Blue Dream. Thank you, Krell Baba. So you get this. So now if I'm hearing this chord, I'm thinking this. That's not how I think. I don't think that way at all. What I will think is this chord. If this is the chord in the song, we're just going to vamp this chord. Here's the song. Hey, Sean Aaron. Okay, that's the chord. Instantly, I'm like, well, that's the 4 chord to the key of G. So I'm playing the key of G. And what did I say to you 2 minutes ago? I like playing to the minor. So I would either play A minor with a sharp, with the F sharp, or I would play just a standard E minor. Technically, I'll tell you right now, I like playing from the E minor because it starts from the major third of the chord. So you hear this, and I'd play, because I'm thinking about it as G. So I see that E minor 7, Yeah, so you get this. And now I have all because of this. And I'm not thinking I'm in Lydian. I'm thinking I'm in the key of fucking G. This is the chord. So I know my chord tones are D, F sharp is in there. And so is C, E, and G. Right? So I could sit there and be like, so I'm just playing along to, doesn't matter. I'm not thinking modally because it's all 7 notes. It doesn't matter how you want to approach it. And how, let's say, Mr. you want to approach it from A minor. So you're like, you hear this. And you're like, over this. Over that, right? Well, that would be your sound. Then people, when they heard you play and me play, they would be like, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. But what I'm saying is, so you would be like, oh, that his tone is he starts on that 6. Me, I'm starting on that major third. Yeah, I know every note that I'm playing as I play it. I mean, I know where I'm going, and I look at it like I see the shapes of the chords as well. So if I'm playing this, or like let's say I'm playing in the key of E, right? If I'm droning in E. If I'm playing a lead over there, I can see the, I can see the B chord, the A chord, the E major 7 chord, a G minor 7 chord there. I can see the B here, the A. So I'm looking at all these chords. So that's how, another good chord, E minor 9. Another thing I would play E minor over, or I could even add the C sharp in this particular one if the change is going to be like, but you don't know because we don't know what the next chord would be. But for the most part, yeah, I'm visualizing. I see the fingerboard. I see a lot of shapes and a lot of different things going on. Like, I look at stuff. I try to think of things in the most simple form. If someone's playing a major 7 chord, like a C major 7, I'm going to play an E minor scale, and I'm going to play an F sharp against that, even though it's not in key. Because that note sounds nicer than this. Yeah, they know how to play. They know how to play, Cheech. You have to be able to, if you're going to read Nashville charts, you got to know your shit. So, so even if if I think of G major 7, somebody's playing G major 7. For me, I instantly think I'm in B minor because the G major 7 chord without the G root is a B minor chord. If it's a G major 9, then it's a B minor 7 chord. So I like to approaching those colors of the chord to stay, because it's a major 7, that's harmony in the chord. So I'm going to accent the harmony. I'm not going to sit there and accent the root. The root's silly. So I don't think of it in G. You know, like when you hear this, look at the chord. What am I playing? G, F sharp, B, D. Well, get rid of this. F sharp, B, D. It's a B minor. So this chord and this chord are very similar. But this chord sounds nice when you're playing over it. That I'm accenting the B minor and thinking of the B minor more than I am thinking about the G. Now, if the next chord is a D major 7, so I'm looking at it as I'm accenting around B minor. Not everything. I've turned gigs down, very good paying gigs down. Somebody wanted me to play a bossa nova. I'm like, that's not my thing. Go get the guy that does it. Somebody wanted me to play on a thing for ESPN once, like a U2 sounding thing. And I'm like, no, I'm not really that coordinated with delays to time them out and all that stuff. It's just nothing I have experience with. So, but for the most part, I mean, musically, I can sit with an acoustic and play, as much as I can play. But I'm just saying, when you approach stuff, look at the chord and see what the chord is made out of. Like if you see like a C major 7, C major 7 is a beautiful chord. But if I'm playing this and all of a sudden somebody came in with and starts playing around the E minor scale, you're going to see it's very nice. And it works. As opposed to trying to play... People think very... So this here, folks, is linear. Like I'm playing in a line. So learning scales is cool, but nobody really wants to hear you play linear unless you're doing like a type of fast... that type of thing. But, you're going to use that as a tool, as like a sprint. You're not going to sit there and do that all day. So it's not necessary. You really should try to work out the arpeggiation of notes, or getting around the fingerboard. And, so today we were doing this song, Melissa, and I was showing him, he wanted to know, what are we going to do to get from... Oh, Thunderbird. Yeah, they're great. So you got this. And he was like, well, how do I get up here? And I was like... I said, now you're up here. And we just went through fifths. So getting the thing to move around. You ever think about the shapes of scales you could picture? Not the shapes of scales, I don't. No. I don't, because of the shapes of scales. So like, Van Halen, if you want to look at Van Halen, like Van Halen really understood that when you're playing a fast passage, playing every note perfect to the scale doesn't matter, right? So if he's playing something like, right, that was a, right, and all he's playing is he's playing to the key of E, right? E minor. No, it's an A. So he's got... And it gets right back in key on the last string. And so he goes in and out. And that's what he liked. That's that sound of that. You don't have to worry about certain notes and get so caught up in it when you're playing a fast passage. It's just what your preference is. If I want to sit there and be like, if I'm going to play like, I mean, I could finger pick. I have to put the pick down, but I could finger pick that if I wanted to. Like, terrible finger picker, but whatever. But I use a flat pick. It's just preference. So you'd be surprised it's where you land. Where you land is what's important. And when you start to understand jazz and understand what the altered scale is, if I play like this chord here, here's an A7 sharp 5, right? Now on this chord, I can play the whole tone scale, but really, I can play, which is altered, right? And so I'm playing 1, flat 9, sharp 9, major 3rd, sharp 5, sharp 9, flat 9, root. So the scale is like 1 flat 9, sharp 9, major 3rd, flat 5, sharp 5, flat 7. That's the whole scale. It's like every dog note other than the 1, 3, and the flat. 1, 3, and flat 7 are part of the chord, but then everything else is altered. And so, guys who rip through this fast, people are like, oh, that sounds cool. But, sometimes you don't even have to, you can throw in any note you want. It's when you're playing slower, or the melody stuff, not so much on the landing. Like, oh, yeah. Yeah, Django was great. I mean, there's a lot of players that come out of the gate and you're like, what the hell? There's a Russian kid. He's in his 20s now, but I met him when he was 13, Anton Oparin. He was a freak of nature. There's a lot of great players. When you start to realize that the player doesn't matter if the song sucks, so you really gotta, to me, the song is the king. Song is everything, and then you have the player. Like obviously, people want to talk about how they love Eric Clapton, but when you hear Clapton play on Roger Waters' Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking, and you listen to an album at a similar time, the Pink Floyd Final Cut, you realize Gilmour is way more into soothing your soul, and Clapton's playing is a little bit more what I would call stock licks. It's more like a blues play. You throw a blues player in a song, and it's fine sometimes. Obviously, Stevie Ray Vaughan did it in like Let's Dance, and other people. You get blues players to come in songs, and it works. It didn't work, I don't think, for me in that Roger Waters record because it just seems like the playing was pedestrian and didn't really shake you like the way when Gilmour does it. Oh, yeah, he does all that. Everything's 2 fingers. Yeah, it's crazy because he had that in the fire. Yeah, just great. But, for me, Mr. My thing is I tried to stay away from stuff that doesn't have a lot of harmony. Like I love that harmony of like Steely Dan doing. I love that. I'm not so much into where guys are just like, that type of thing for me is not cutting it. Like when it's just power chords, I love Judas Priest and I love the stuff from the 70s and 80s, but in today's world, if it's just power chords, I'm bored. I do like to hear something. Yes, guitarist was Steve Howe. I like Steve Howe. Great stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's so much to. I mean, the guitar is something you're never going to master. Music itself, you can't master it. You can, you just play, and the more you learn, the more you pick up, and there's so much. It's for the love of the. To me, it's for the love of the song. Like for me, I hear a song that I like, it lights me up. I love a good song. Yeah, I don't know if Ingve's mastering patterns so much because I've seen him play stuff. I mean, he does. I mean, I guess once you play a pattern so many times, you can play it in your sleep. But I think Steve has so much flavor in his playing, just perfection. Like Ingve does a lot of the. Oh, is it it's all fun stuff. I mean, to me, I don't care if they're playing patterns or they're playing. If I like the song, I'm in. Instrumental music, I got to tell you, for the most part, I don't care for. I mean, I love the Peacocks from Bill Evans, but I love like that type of stuff where like the piano's playing so much harmony. But for the most part, instrumental guitar stuff for me bores me. So I've never really been a fan of that. But like I always thought the guys in Night Ranger were fantastic because those guys were great players and they were great. Those were pop songs, it's a great. I mean, those great pop songs. Just tell me, oh yeah, I've been. Don't tell me you love me. How is it? Don't love me. Don't tell me you love me. Don't tell me I don't. Love that G there. Friggin' killer. That's a great band. I like them because, like I said, they were great, gifted players. But what songs? And I always like Jack Blade's voice. The Kelly Keegy guy, I could do without. So you walking out on Sentimental Street? It's a little Trey Parker for me. America, fuck yeah, coming to save the motherfucking day, yeah. Yeah. Am I the only one that watched Team America in this fucking chat? You're motoring. So, Mr. I'll tell you, there's a great exercise, and Jeff Carlisi used to do this for the 38 special songs. I have not read it yet, Cheech. And the thing is what Jeff Carlisi does, and what I used to suggest to students that I have, is listen to a section you want to play a solo on, and sing the solo. Just sing it in your head. How do you want the guitar player to play the solo? And then learn what you sang. You'll see, because it's different. And I also talk about songwriting the same way. Exactly, Brian. When you if you think about a song, when you songwrite, I write as I'm the listener. What do I want to hear next? What do I want to hear the singer? What do I want to hear that singer sing to me? What is he saying to me? And that's how I write. So when I write, I'm like, what do I want to hear? And same when you're playing a solo. What do you want to hear? And so then once you start getting used to doing that, you can kind of then go, oh, okay. And the other thing is to try to stay away from your cliche shit. Like I'd like to see, when you have like this and see a blues guy get away from, that type of, it's like, come on, that's the lick you're going to pull out. Which is probably why I think Forever Man is one of Clapton's greatest solos, because at a point I think it's not so cliche him. It is somewhat like, who does that remind me of? Reminds me more of Stevie Ray Vaughan, but it's what is that song? Like almost the way he played with Stevie with David Bowie. But I do think that's not so Claptonish, because it's not so. He's not just noodling. It is a set. It's very focused. Like he sang the solo and then played it. I'm not a big Joe Bonamassa fan. I don't really care for the blues. So for me, I don't get excited about it. And I know people like him, and that's cool. It's not for me. Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely. I mean, there are gigs, Mr. I played where I phoned it in. I'm playing at a blues gig and I'm soloing and I'm like watching people around the room, and I'm looking at the band and I'm like, oh, you guys want me to stop? Okay, great. Here I'll go. I'm finished. I'll just phone, and people will come up to you, man, that was great. It's like, oh, was it? Because I was, in my head, I'm over there, not here. And so, you can phone it in. But if you're playing what you love, I mean, it just depends on what you're doing for work. If you're working at playing guitar, I mean, if you're doing your own band, um, then obviously you're going to be getting more joy out of it and doing what you want. Yeah, I would just say listen to as many as you can. Like I love like Larry Carlton, his playing. I love a lot of players, but at the same time, I'm not a huge guitar fan. So like if I was going to listen to instrumental stuff, I'd rather hear the piano. That's just me. Or like Freddie Hubbard. I love the old Freddie Hubbard. Ready for Freddie's a great record. I like songs too. That's my thing, songs. Bad Love. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Bad Love. I like his poppier stuff. I don't really care for the bluesy um, type of songs. There's a lot of people around here in acoustic play Bad Love, and I'm always like, why would you pick that song? I like You're Fooling Around, I Can't Stand It. I mean, that's a great tune, but what can you do? Yeah, I think so, Krell. Atomic Rooster keyboard player. I don't know. I don't know Atomic Rooster. I think I've seen that name, or is it Atomic something that comments on my channel? But I don't know. What is it, 11:45 already? Anyways, we went around the clock, right? We went to theory, then we went to fitness, and back to theory. Oh, portrait. Oh, yeah. Bill's great. Yeah. Yeah, I love Bill Evans' stuff. There's something about it. He just has those. To me, it's Bill plays those. Yeah. I like Red Clay and First Light. I do. I don't like him as much as I like the Ready for Freddy or the stuff that he did before that on Blue Note, but I do like the fusion stuff. I did like too. Ed Dana, I'll do the jokes, okay? I'm just kidding. How are you, Ed? I love Freddie Hubbard. Best advice I ever got from guitar play was Tommy Manuel said, I never saw a hearse followed by an armored car. Right. That's true. Uh, that's Erin Ann Scott. She was texting me before I went on tonight because I had to send her some of the songs. She actually wants to come on the show because I asked her a while back. I'm probably going to have her on the show, Brian. Goodbyes at the closing of. Oh, wait a second. You're talking about the end of my DL show, Brian, right? Dave, we got a new Mackie SM. Oh, that's awesome, Ed. Awesome. Glad you like that amp, Thunderberg. Les Nagy, what's happening? Have you seen the Clapton DVD VHS with Phil Collins drumming? No, but Collins played for Clapton for many years in the 80s. I think he did the Behind the Sun tour and maybe the August tour. Yeah, that song's called Kiss Texas Goodbye. But it's the very end fade out that I use on the show when she goes goodbye, because I just use that as a joke. Yeah. Oh, excellent. Let me know how it works out for you, Ed. I have a gig Friday and Saturday this week, so see how it goes. Yeah, exactly. We actually recorded that. I'll tell you a funny story about that. We recorded that at a house in Playa del Rey. The drummer was in like a bedroom closet with the drum set up, and then that was all wired through the house. I was playing acoustic guitar in one of the bedrooms. Everything was wired to the mixing console was in the guy's kitchen. Oh, it's a fantastic album, James. And what happened? The upright bass was across in another bedroom. And then we had the guy playing dobro was in the bathroom. We recorded it and then recorded the music. Oh, and Erin Ann was in one of the other room's closets singing as a vocal booth. We recorded it, and then we brought it to Lee Carreri, who was Bruno on Fame, and Lee played piano on it. And it was a lot of fun. It sounded pretty good, but it was just a quick demo. We banged out like 3 songs that day at this house. Erin Ann had set up that recording. I really didn't know much about who was there. And then she sang on a bunch of other stuff. We did a whole album together. But yeah. I play electric guitar, like when I do my lessons today, I was playing my black. What happens is if I was to do the show with electric, Jay, which I was going to do today, the audio card fucks with my vocal when I play the guitar with it. So I'm like, you know what? Because StreamYard's funky. So I'm like, I'm not going to deal with it tonight. I was just going to use my acoustic. But I wanted to use the electric tonight. But no can do. Yeah. Wish It Would Rain. Yeah, Johnny, they did a bunch of songs together. Like I said, I think it was Nathan East, Collins on drums, Greg Fillinganes on keyboards. I really like the song Behind the Mask, which was on the August album, which was a song that was originally written by Ryuichi Sakamoto. And then it was given to Michael Jackson later to put lyrics over it. He put lyrics on it and did a demo of it. It was going to be on Thriller. Then they passed on that song being on Thriller. And Fillinganes played on it with Michael Jackson. And then Fillinganes brought it to Clapton to play. And Clapton wanted to do it. And they ended up having a single with it. It was really good. That was a long-winded story of how Eric Clapton got the song Behind the Mask. I just like telling that story because I like saying the name Ryuichi Sakamoto. funny. Sometimes the chat moves and then sometimes it's dead still. August is a great album. Hey, thanks, Jay Santiago. I appreciate that. Take a chance and Miss You. Miss You's great. Miss You also has a great guitar sound to it. Miss You has a very much like a um, Forever Man type of thing. Maybe not as impactful as Forever Man, but the similar type tone. I thought Journeyman was a decent album, but I didn't love it as much as Behind the Sun or August. Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you know. I got to talk to Erin Ann. I'll talk to her like in a week or so. Maybe I'll get her to come on Monday. It'd be fun. She'd be good for a bunch of laughs. We have some recording studio stories that are very funny. And she sings ridiculous. She would do stuff. You could sing her a song and she'll go back and sing it and do it and nail it in one take and pitch. And people would be like, what? We did a thing with Erin Ann once where Vinnie Colaiuta's playing drums, John Leftwich was playing bass, and we were trying to get the bass and drum track another take on something. And so she went into the vocal booth to sing a scratch vocal. But we didn't lay down a scratch vocal. She was just going to sing it live and have like certain ebb and flow to the song. So Louis Conti comes in, who I've contacted as well, who said he would do my show. But at the time last year, he was having a lot of issues. So he'll come on sometime. Louis Conti, the percussionist, walks in. He was doing a session next door. This is at the... what the hell's the name of that studio on Western? Conway Studios. We were at Conway. And he comes in and he's like, why is the girl in the booth? I said, well, she's singing a scratch and we're just doing it live. She's just banging through it. He goes, no. That song, you guys, I've heard 2 takes already, and that was the same take. I'm like, no, she's singing live. So I go, they're going to do one more, and then that's it. I think we have it on the last one. We're going to do one more. So he goes, if she sings that live and it sounds the same again, I'm playing on this record. I don't care what you say. And so she sang it again, and he was like, that's it. I'm playing. And so then we got a day from him. We booked a day with him. It was awesome. Any good acoustic guitar values out there? I got a couple of 300s, but don't love them. You're going to have to buy something used, David M., for that. You could probably find a used Recording King. You can find some Recording Kings that are used that are great. There's some Blue Ridge, higher-end Blue Ridge you could find used, but you're going to have to find something used in that range. And thanks to everyone else in Dave's chat for being nice and inspiring me. Hey, thanks, Jay Santiago. Appreciate that. Yes, Krell. She's the one that did. What did I play for you? Did I play for you when she did Karen Carpenter? She used to do a Karen Carpenter impersonation, and like we couldn't get out of the studio without pissing our pants. It was just ridiculous. She also did a pretty funny Barbara impersonation. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get her to come on and do the Karen Carpenter. That's if she could figure shit out. I sent her a bunch of songs tonight, and her response back was, she's like, what am I supposed to do? I go, you download it. She writes back, I tried. My computer is full. Oh, really? Well, let me tell you what else is full. You of shit. You just don't know what the hell you're doing. Your computer's full. You can't download an MP3. Give me a break. But yeah, I'll have her on and try to get some more people to come on. Because if I have to listen to any more of Krellbau's stories, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to buy some rope. Thank you very much, folks. I'm here all week. Try the veal. Hey now. I want to thank Jay Santiago for the $12. Folks, we're only 150,000 shy of our goal. Please donate. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. The guy in the picture underneath George Clinton is Steve Wariner, country guitar player, fantastic, one of my favorites. So the funny story about that is, the funny thing about that picture is, so Steve Wariner, like I think he dropped he hasn't been on a label. Hey, thanks so much, Mister. Steve Wariner hasn't been on a label for years, and he started releasing stuff under his own label. So you had to go to the website to buy his album. At the time, I'm living with Bingham. So Bingham and I are roommates, and the CD comes in the mail, but it comes in like a big manila envelope. I open it up. It's a CD. It's a signed letter saying, thank you so much for buying, something like that, buying the album. And here's a signed 8x10 glossy. So I open my mail. I get this thing. I don't say a word. I go to the frame store and I pick up a frame. And then when Bingham's not around, I put the picture out in the living room. And it was just hysterical. Bingham walks in one day and he's like, what the fuck is this? Because, there was a joke where people would always talk about Steve Wariner and go, oh, I don't know how he walks. Dave's up his ass. I loved his playing. And at the time, I was trying to learn like a lot of that, all that chicken picking that, that type of. So I love Steve Wariner. I did a thing, a lesson on one of his tunings. Well, I have a performance of one of his tunings on my other YouTube channel, my name, Dave Levine, but there's nothing else on that. But yeah, that's Steve Wariner. Who's great. What can I say? He's great. And that's about it. Oh, it was funny as hell because Bingham was just like, what? He just started laughing. He's just like, you are ridiculous. But it was hysterical. But let me tell you, back in those days, we used to smoke cigars in our living room and we would watch Cannon. We would have Cannon night. That was good. But if you don't know who Steve Wariner is, I recommend you look him up. He's great to follow. He always plays guitar out of his studio. It's good stuff. So it seems like my show is more popular at 12 o'clock than it was at 10 o'clock. Here I am thinking I was doing it. Pam, what did you do? Why did you block that? Pam, do you know what the hell you're doing? What are you doing? Sorry about that, Thunderberg. Pam definitely made a mistake. I don't know why she did that. I didn't even know she was still in the chat. James Burton was great, and so was Jerry Reed. Thanks, James Stewart. Brent Mason's a great chicken picker. Vince Gill's a great chicken picker. There's a couple of great ones. Paisley's a great chicken picker. Red Volkart. I mean, there's a lot of great players. There's a great Brad Paisley song called Play, or Cluster Pluck. Cluster Pluck, I think it was called. Well, what's 300 seconds? It said you timed somebody out, Pam. You hit something. So now we got to wait for the Thunderberg to come back because you fucking blew it. Oh, yeah. Jerry's breakdown, Elroy, is amazing. Oh, I've been to Nashville before. Yeah. Danny Gatton's great. Morse is great. Yeah, check out. There's a song called No More Mr. Nice Guy by Steve Wariner. and it's him and Vince Gill, and they're both ripping. Albert Lee is another great chicken picker. Forrest Lee Jr. is a great chicken picker. It's a lot of great chicken picking. For a while, I got really into it. And then, I've seen a lot of really great guys that do it. Oh, that's a great song. Great song, Robert. 'Cause there's holes in the floor of heaven. Yeah. You blocked Thunderberg. We were making thunder. Wasn't there a song called Making Thunderbergs by I'm joking. By Bob Seger. Thunderberg, we're gonna wait for you to come back. How do you like them apples? What's 30 seconds? 300 seconds, 5 minutes? Christ. Pam disrupting my channel. What's going on with this? Let's get that up there so we get the whole Blue Nile thing in there. There we go. That looks better. I'm more country than rock anyway. Yeah, I mean, I love country stuff. You know who was great in country also was the guy who played for Diamond Rio was great. I love Diamond Rio. Yeah, you silenced him for 5 minutes, Pam. Springsteen, Thunder Road. Will any love for Chet? I love Chet Atkins and Jerry Reed. Love them both. Love them both. Big Chet fan. There was a song I was noodling on earlier that Steve Wariner did and Chet did called Sales. What's that chord? Just play and learn all the chords everywhere. Yeah, Koch is great. Greg Koch. Yeah, his birth. Oh, really? You know that one, Jay? Well, I forget. I forget this part. It's written by John Hall and Joanna Hall, who also wrote. And they also wrote, "We've been together since way back when." All righty. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate that. Still waiting for Thunderberg to come back. Oh, it's the best, David M. It's the best. It is good stuff. Hey, Thunderberg's back. Yeah, she fucked up. I don't know what the hell she was doing. I don't know. Actually, it was his birthday. It's now 12:05, so it's April 7th. Anyways, I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me tonight. And we're going to call it an evening. All right? You're an evening. When I see an old guy bringing up a Martin in my shop, I want to run away. Yeah, right. Saul Goodman. All right, everybody. Yeah, I think it deleted all his comments, Pam. Music junkie, life is good. Very good. All right, guys. Hey, well, listen. The next time I'll be doing this show, what is this one called again? Chord Therapy. Will be on like the 20th. Is it the 20th? Let me just look at the date. Yeah, it's the 20th. So the next one will be the 20th. On the 11th, I'll be back with the DL show. So we'll see you guys, Krellbar and Joe and I, and maybe if we have a guest. Happy belated birthday. Thanks, Jay. Strat Dad, thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Hey, listen, have a great night. And what else do you want me to say? Oh, I know. Very good. No, everyone have a great night, and I will see. Thanks for teaching us. Really cool to take the time. Stay blessed. Thank you, Thunderberg. And all right, very good. All right, guys, have a great night. Very good.